Hey, this is Ari Koinuma, and today we're going to look at my childhood favorite, Bon Jovi's Wanted It All Alive, to see what kind of songwriting wisdom that we can find in the song. So first of all, I'm going to play you this intro, and we'll see what we can observe from this lick. It goes something like this. Alright, so what's that last chord there? It's a D major, right? So all along he is in this D minor tonality. That's a D minor chord, D to A to F. That's an F natural there also. That will make it actually a D minor 7 chord. But the chords there implied there are, D minor, and that's a C over D. Here there is a D minor again. That's a C over D. That's an A minor over D. G over D, and then, well, anyway. So what I'm trying to say is the whole lick is in D minor, and then he concludes in D major. So this song is mixing up the minor harmony with a major. It's sort of switching between minor and major, and that's part of what makes that song really distinct. When you come along with the bluesy minor chord lick, and then all of a sudden at the end you're just gonna go, oh, there is a major chord there, right? So that's point number one. Alright, so next we're going to look at the verse melody, and I'm going to play a bit of it on my guitar. It goes like this. So notice we think we're in D major, right? That's the first chord of the verse. But then notice how that's a C natural, which is flat 7 in the key of D major. And notice how often he goes to that note. So obviously that note is very important. Now when you have a major chord or major key, and then you put the flat 7 major chord, the C chord in this case. We're in the key of D major, and then you just all of a sudden go to a C. Now that flat 7's, I would call that like a defiance chord in rock and roll. It's just when you pair a major key and then with a flat 7 major chord, all of a sudden you just get this attitude. Just I'm not gonna give in, I'm gonna make my stand kind of sound. And that's what this really is, this heart and soul of this song, from lyrics and everything. This song is about defiance, or making your sort of holding your ground kind of thing. And that is reflected by his heavy reliance on the C note in the whole D major tonality, at least well, throughout the song, but just something to note in this song. And finally, I am going to play a bit of the chord from the song here. It goes something like this. So we thought we were in the key of D major, but actually then he goes straight to, like we talked about, into C, and then G, C, G, and then F there. And then we also talked about the reliance on C and F natural in the melody there. So what does that mean? So usually a D major scale goes like this. and then chords that are in the key of D are made up from those notes. Now, what the notes that are used here primarily are actually Dorian mode. It goes something like this. So notice how that sounds a lot more exotic and distinct from a more generic major scale. So the lesson that we can learn from this is to, if major keys, minor keys, the chords that come with it, it's not a, if you get bored of D and G and A, that sort of thing, then you can start to explore other harmonies. And this song features a Dorian harmony, and that's why it has that distinct sound that sounds more exotic. And then he's mixing, major and minor harmony, and all of a sudden the song sounds very unique and distinct. And so what you do is basically you take a mode, like in this case a Dorian, and then you explore chords that are made up from those notes. So we end up something like, even if we stay with the D major for the main root or the tonic with the F sharp, you end up using like C and then F, and then you don't go to A. Notice this song doesn't have a lot of A's because A has that C sharp, and that sounds that the happy sort of a major tonality to it. So he doesn't go into A. He just goes to those are the main chords that make up the song. So exploring modal harmony can really sort of open up a new world as far as songwriting and giving you a lot more interesting songs to listen to. So, Wanted Dead or Alive, Bon Jovi, we talked about mixing up of major and minor tonalities. We talked about relying on C in the melody a lot, and how that flat seventh note and chord is the sound of defiance in the major key. And then we finally talked about Dorian mode as or any other modes as a sort of place to explore as far as both melody and harmony, and how that would give you a different palette to work with from traditional major and minor kind of harmonies. And those are all songwriting wisdom that we can explore and try to apply into our own songwriting. Alright, so that's today's lesson from this song. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.